10 days following the birth of her triplets, Cassie Roth experienced a severe pain in her chest. Having triplets is a rare and extraordinary event, with the likelihood being 1 in 10,000. It's an experience few will ever know. Yet this was precisely the reality for Cassie, a resident of Kansas. Pregnant with triplets, she and her husband Joe were overjoyed at the prospect of welcoming 3 children at once, an understandably thrilling prospect for any couple. Cassie and Joe's love affair flourished even more with the arrival of this special gift. From the outset, they were certain they wanted to spend their lives together, leading them to tie the knot in 2006. 2 years on, they purchased a farm. They enjoyed a dreamlike existence, a blissful marriage, and a perfect life as partners. They now had their own home, which they were diligently renovating. The renovation required considerable effort, but the result was stunningly beautiful. They were both proud of the result. Despite this, they still felt that something was missing. Their needs were covered, but they wanted to have children and enlarge the family. Only then would their lives be complete. The house was finished and suitable for children. Sometime later, Cassie became pregnant. The couple was happy. Their big dream had come true. A few months later, they discovered it was a girl, and when she was born, they named her Chloe. They were floating on clouds. Their joy knew no bounds, and the baby became the center of everything. After 4 years, they received good news. Cassie was pregnant again, this time with a little girl they named Tin Lil. It was beautiful. The parents were getting busier and busier, now with 2 little girls to support. As hectic as it was at times, they loved this lifestyle, but were they prepared for all that would happen? A few years later, they experienced another first. In fact, it was something that would change everything forever. They never would have expected such a thing. It turned out that Cassie was pregnant again, but this time with triplets. It was a natural pregnancy, which is very rare. They couldn't believe it. It was a big event for them to deal with. Suddenly, they went from 2 to 5 children, and the first 2 were still small. They had a beautiful house, but now it was going to be full. Cassie and Joe couldn't believe how their fate had turned out. As good as it was, the outlook was not going to be easy. The doctor told Cassie that her pregnancy would be high risk and could even be dangerous. They advised her to take certain medications that would allow her to deliver early and without complications, but she flatly refused. She convinced herself that all 4 would be fine. There was no way to get her to agree. She decided to go to another hospital for medical care and to get a second opinion. This made her feel safer, even though she had to stay in the hospital for a few months. Fortunately, she had relatives in the area who could help her. Her husband and children remained at home and were separated for months. It was hard for everyone, but it was for her own good and for the health of the mother and babies. She'd almost talked every day about how much she missed her family, but she also wanted to make sure her 3 future children were safe and healthy, so she did it. There was no other way. And so the days went by. The triplets were getting bigger and bigger, and her belly was growing. The delivery day was getting closer. She still couldn't believe they were going to have 5 children. She thought it was great and was happy about it. She couldn't wait to meet the 3 angels and go home together with her loved ones. On June 29, 2016, Cassie gave birth by cesarean section. It was a very intense day, but all 3 children were healthy. 2 boys and a girl, Asher, Levi, and Piper. They were so cute. The mother wanted to go home as soon as possible, but the doctor advised her to stay a few more days to make sure the triplets were in perfect health. Finally, she was allowed to return home. She was very happy about it, but the babies remained in the hospital. Then she almost had to go back too, because she was not feeling well. 10 days after the birth, the mother felt a huge pain in her chest. It was a stabbing pain, as if someone had stabbed her. It was unbearable. Joe rushed his wife to the hospital, and once there, the couple learned that she almost had a blood clot in her lung. The doctors assured them that everything would be fine and that she was in good hands. The woman would be able to be with her 3 newborns again. Hopefully, they would go home as soon as possible. At least she didn't look too bad, so they tried not to worry too much. The couple returned home so the mother could see her older daughters. Everything seemed calm. She started to take care of everything, and the family was grateful for her return. They missed her very much. However, after a few days, her discomfort was present again. She felt a pain in her chest again. Joe panicked and immediately took her back to the hospital. Unfortunately, the situation escalated in the car. Cassie became unconscious. Joe tried to wake her up, but to no avail. He began to worry even more. He drove as fast as he could so as not to waste a second. His wife was still unresponsive when they arrived. They moved her to the emergency room. Meanwhile, the man waited outside and didn't know what to think. He just wished his wife would recover quickly. Joe tried his best to remain calm, but it was difficult. He felt the time was passing very slowly and prayed that there would be good news soon. Meanwhile, the doctors were doing everything they could to save Cassie, but the situation was critical. They didn't know what to do. A little later, the specialists came out, and Joe ran up to them. They had a serious look in their eyes. "Oh no, I hope they don't have bad news," he thought. He was getting more and more anxious, but the information was devastating. They explained to him that, unfortunately, there was nothing more they could do. Cassie was beyond saving. The love of his life, the mother of his 5 beloved children, had not survived. It was the biggest shock of his life. Joe felt terrible. How could his dream life suddenly end up in a nightmare? The little ones were now going to grow up without their mother. What was he supposed to tell them? They would be destroyed too. It was terrible. Cassie was only 36. Her family and friends had to say goodbye suddenly, but Joe had to stay strong for his children. He had arranged a nice funeral for his wife, and everyone got to see her one last time. Now Joe was alone and had kids to take care of. His beloved partner was gone. However, the situation became a little less bleak. He'd also received a lot of support. A GoFundMe page was set up, and money was raised for the family. They raised more than 150,000 euros. Everyone who heard about the story was very touched, and thousands of people donated. This support meant a lot to Joe, and he will always be thankful. Joe's parents also dedicated themselves to helping. Joe, the grieving widower, is trying his best to stay strong, missing his wife deeply. Everything happened so fast and unexpectedly. His wife died from a blood clot in her lung, which might have been related to her pregnancy. The doctors had not thought it was serious, so it came as a shock. It was awful. Joe found it hard to believe everything that was happening. It took him some time to accept it. In the first few days, he felt numb and couldn't accept the news. But that was the reality, and it couldn't be changed. Joe receives a lot of support from those around him. He and his family are slowly getting better. His children are also staying strong, even though they miss their mother a lot. The triplets bring them more happiness and joy. Joe and his kids keep Cassie's memory alive, even though she's gone. Before she passed away, she asked Joe to always tell her children how much she loved them, and he makes sure to do just that. What do you think of this story? Let us know in the comments section. Thank you. I hope you liked this video. Please give it a thumbs up and share it with your loved ones. Also subscribe and press the bell icon to never miss the update from our channel. Thank you.